What's up everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Missed Opportunities. This series will be a discussion of Dragon Ball characters who have been left behind, poorly treated, have wasted potential, or overall were just missed opportunities. Alongside characters, this could apply to other stuff such as plot points, transformations, concepts, anything. This could either be because of their importance diminishing over time, the fundamental ideas behind the character or the concept completely changing, or aspects of them that are being overlooked for no good reason. We'll be analyzing the good parts of the topics, as well as what went wrong and what could have or should have been done with them. Today, we'll be talking about two characters who are often grouped together. Much like Goku and Vegeta being rivals, these two are sort of rivals as well, and the sons of those two. Of course, I'm talking about Goten and Trunks. Goten, the second son of Goku and Chi-Chi and the spitting image of Goku. Trunks, the first child and only son of Vegeta and Bulma, the spitting image of, himself. Two younger half Saiyans that were somewhat important back in late DBZ, but started to fall behind right after. How and why did that happen? Was it fair to do this to them, or necessary? What could be done to fix that? Let's explore it. First, let's talk about the two kids themselves and some background before getting into what made them candidates for missed opportunities. Trunks is a character that has sort of a unique origin when compared to other characters. We were actually introduced to Trunks before he was born, through future Trunks. Similar to Gohan, Bulma, and the androids, Trunks' older self plays an important role in the future timeline, and I'm sure you all know why that is. I don't need to explain that. Funnily enough, we first met him as a teenager when he traveled to the past as he warned us about the androids. While not really the same character, this was the first time we got a look into the concept of what a child of Vegeta and Bulma could have been like. Fast forward a few years, and he's born in the present timeline, right before the android saga. And since he's a newborn and doesn't do much, there's nothing really to cover that we haven't already said about this saga. I mean, present Trunks is kinda inconsequential over here. Once we reach the Buu saga, however, that's when he starts playing a role. He's Vegeta's son and obviously he's a lot like his father. Kinda cocky, energetic, likes to fight, all that kinda stuff. And he spends his time training or with his best friend Goten. Goten is the second son of Goku, obviously, and was born after the Cell saga when Goku sacrificed himself. Other than Trunks, we often see him with Gohan a lot. The two kids kind of played a big role in the Buu saga, being one of the main focuses of the World Tournament, then, of course, what they're probably most remembered for, learning fusion to become Gotenks and fighting Buu, all while that fusion became one of the strongest characters we saw at that point in the arc, and the second person to use Super Saiyan 3, a brand new form. But after that, well, not really much. We see Gotenks appear a few times in Dragon Ball Super, but his role is very, very small, and it seems like Goten and Trunks' individuality was pushed aside in favor of Gotenks being more important than them, which is kinda odd considering Gotenks doesn't even show up that much. GT actually makes the two of them a bit more important, which we'll get into. But why is this even an issue though? Kinda like I talked about with Raditz in the last episode, which I'll link at the top of this video, it's not the overall concept of their characters, but their origin and former importance that really makes this a wasted opportunity. Being the sons of the two main characters, and being the youngest Super Saiyans we've seen so far, you think they'd have a lot of potential to be powerful and important, right? However, that potential is squandered because of how little they're used outside of being fusion fodder. In the Buu saga, where they're most prominent at first, they fight in the tournament as Mighty Mask and against each other in the kids section, which is really just a side story for the main arc. As part of fighting Buu, they do kind of play a nice role, as Gotenks. And Gotenks doesn't even get to accomplish that much. He gets screwed by the fusion's time limit, and within that same arc, he ends up getting surpassed by Buu, Gohan, and Vegito, and after he gets absorbed by Buu, neither him or the two kids play any big role other than kind of contributing to the Spirit Bomb, but everyone did that. Now that's not too bad, it's only their first arc, and they did get some screen time, so they'll surely have more relevance in Super, right? Right? Nope. They're actually less important than some of the humans even, which shows how badly they got sidelined. In Battle of Gods, anime and movie, they kinda have a side role. You know, the whole thing with the Dragon Balls, the Pilaf gang, and their small interactions with Beerus. In Resurrection F, Gotenks comes back, but only in the anime version. Then after that, they're not in the Universe 6 tournament, they're in the Copy Vegeta arc, which I don't think anyone really cares about. They're side characters in the Future Trunks arc, where Trunks actually has some nice interactions with his future self, but after that, nothing. One good thing for them is that they got in the Broly movie for a bit, But if I remember correctly, Trunks had very few lines, and I don't think Goten even talked at all. It was just a cameo at best. Like I said, the most importance they had in Super was during the Copy Vegeta arc, which is one of the more forgettable and less consequential arcs in the whole entire series. Now, what I'm saying isn't that they need to be important and integral to the plot of every arc in some way. Not at all. Rather, I'd rather not have them left behind so many times and becoming nothing more than a supporting cast. When we look at both their origins and the way the characters were set up, they should definitely be more important characters, at least in some arcs, and the two kids individually never got the development or importance that they deserve. They're really only used now as fusion fodder, like I've mentioned. They don't even get physical development. Like, I get that Saiyans look young for a while, but right now Goten is 13 and Trunks is 14. For comparison, here's what future Trunks looked like at 14. I mean, maybe there's reasoning behind Goten because Goku looked like that around that age, but also you gotta remember these two aren't full Saiyans, they're only half Saiyans. And the fact that future Trunks looked older at this age means these two probably should as well. Hell, even Gohan in the Cell Saga looked older than these two, and he was only 9 years old there, or 11 if you want to go by the original anime. Ironically, these two actually look like they're getting younger as time passes. Like the two of them in the Buu Saga look older than they did in the Broly movie. You know, now I'm just realizing I just went on a whole tangent about their age that doesn't really matter. That's not even the biggest issue I have with them though, it's just one point I wanted to bring up. Like I was saying, they should at least get something to do. Considering how strong they were in the Buu Saga, and the fact that they were able to go Super Saiyan at age 7 and 8, or maybe even earlier than that, you'd think they would have the potential that someone like Gohan has to be that powerful. And while Gohan focused on studying and kinda slacked off in training, it seems these two train more frequently than Gohan did, and they're not even really focused on studies like Gohan was, but they're still incredibly weak and haven't really fought outside of being Gotenks in Super. But that's just Super. As I mentioned before, we can still talk a little bit about GT. While obviously we all know none of it is canon by now, and I'm sure people in the comments are going to be mentioning that, it's still important to bring it up because it is a whole separate series, and it was one of the main sources of Dragon Ball content that we were getting at some point. In this show, Goten and Trunks actually do more, especially Trunks. Goten also kind of slacks off like we saw at the end of Z, but for different reasons than Gohan. But they at least showed his development as a person there in GT. He went from being basically just a knockoff Kid Goku to being well, for lack of a better term, a Chad. It kinda looks like he was dumbed down a bit in End of Z, but he has more of a personality and distinct look, as opposed to the way he looked and acted when he was younger. And they even gave him kind of a social life. Trunks was actually very active in GT, even kinda being one of the main characters, along with Goku and Pan. And while they could have taken the easy way out and made him a carbon copy of future Trunks, he's somewhat different. Even in design, sure, they look similar because they're the same person, but they made him distinct from future Trunks, which I think is pretty cool. Whatever you think of GT, I will always respect the fact that they actually gave these two some sort of personality and physical development. Sadly though, it's a different storyline from Super, so it's not like Goten and Trunks will be like this in the future. Speaking of the future, what could be done with them? Well, for me personally, I think these two could be great characters if they're utilized more, as they should be. In any future arc, their issues can be easily fixed. Show some physical development for them in terms of their appearance and power. Give them more unique personalities. Have them do something that doesn't require them to be Gotenks, like just them doing it individually. It would be nice to see them fight as two separate characters without having to rely on fusion and only being used in the plot for that purpose. Goten seems like he can be a cool character to me, even if he isn't like how he was in GT or the End of Z. Same goes for Trunks. I mean, future Trunks literally is just an older version of him, but given their histories, present Trunks is and will be a very different character from future Trunks. With all the rumors of Super continuing, I think it's time that they become relevant again. And I'm not saying they should just be handed new forms and power boosts out of nowhere. Like, it would be kinda dumb if we just got Super Saiyan Blue Goten out of the blue, no pun intended. But they should at least show some sort of increase in power given the amount of times we see them training and how eager they are to fight. They don't even have Super Saiyan 2 yet as far as we know, which is something reasonable and something you would expect from them at this point, considering how easily they turn Super Saiyan. So as a quick recap, the main things I want to see from them, even if they don't become important, is just some development. Some increase in power that doesn't make them just fodder. A change in physical appearance, even if it doesn't make them look older, like just changing Goten's hair or something. And a development in personality. These two are teens, but they still act the same way they did when they were 7 and 8. I think, at minimum, just with these things, their characters can be improved heavily when compared to how they're portrayed now. Just for fun, I want to do a little poll. Which of these two do you like more, Goten or Trunks? It'll be interesting to see which of these two you guys like better. Now time for some more feedback. Do you guys like Goten and Trunks? Do you guys think they have a lot of potential to be better characters in the future? Which do you like more out of the two? Who or what else in Dragon Ball was a missed opportunity for you? Let me know in the comments below. And as usual, if you liked the video, remember to drop a like and subscribe, as well as hitting the bell icon to get notifications for all of my future videos. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.